Hey guys, so I think one of the things that's been in the news the past few days, certainly in the UK, is the UK starting to quarantine a lot of other countries like in Europe, when previously it was kind of the other way around. So one of the biggest news really is Spain, because this time of year it's midsummer basically, and for those of you who don't live in the UK, basically not everyone, but like you get millions of people from the UK go to Spain every. Oi, shut quiet. Yeah, millions of people go to Spain every year from the UK on holiday, go spend their money, and I think it's the biggest destination for British tourists, and British tourists are easily the second biggest consumer base for tourism in Spain after Germans. So it's quite bad news, not just for British tourists who are going to Spain, for their summer holidays, but also for the Spanish people. I mean, sorry about that dog. Yeah, it's like 11% of their GDP alone is tourism, like directly, and of course in coastal regions, southern regions, that's even higher. So it's quite devastating for them, because basically the rule itself is that if you go to Spain and you come back, you have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And of course, being the UK, it's not, you don't have like a policeman standing outside your house for 2 weeks. It's kind of something do yourself. You don't really have to, but of course, like you can't, it's illegal for like your work to let you come in and stuff. So shut up. It's basically a right pain in the ass, and it basically means just most people can't or just don't want to go to Spain now. The reason why I'm talking about this is because Spain, if you remember, it had probably one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. Like you couldn't go outside to exercise, you could only go outside to get food or go to work. That was literally fucking it. And then after a while it was like you had to go outside at a certain time, you could only go like 3 kilometers from your house, stuff like that. So it's really strict, and it looked like it was starting to pay off, didn't it? Because they were getting like only a couple hundred new cases a day or whatever, at least reported. But now it's creeping back up. Well, not creeping back up, it's exploded. Well over 2,000 new confirmed cases every day, and they went through all that. Like they basically butt fucked their already fucked economy. We were hearing about youth unemployment in Spain was like 50% a few years ago. Well, I mean, I don't even want to know what the numbers are going to be like when when we look back on this and see, like by winter, like their economy is in as shit as it is, and if they can't get any British tourists this summer, that's going to be that's just going to make it worse. And like Germany's also like strongly advising that their citizens don't go to Catalonia, and 2 other regions. Catalonia is one of the most famous regions for tourism. So it's not looking good for Spain. And so it kind of just goes to show that lockdowns, unless you're going to basically drive a virus to extinction, which by the looks of it would probably take years to happen, or you just build up herd immunity gradually, which it doesn't really look like that's happened. I think in like various studies around different countries in the world, like herd immunity is roughly at about between 5 to 20%. So that's quite a FER rate, like under normal circumstances is like 3 to 4. Then you're going to need about 75% or something, 60 to 70% in that region herd immunity, in order for the R rate to be below 1, and then it stops spreading, mathematically speaking. So if they were trying to give herd immunity with this, it hasn't worked, and if they were trying to drive it to extinction, well, it certainly hasn't worked. I mean, cases globally are exploding, and that's another thing. Even if, like in New Zealand, you do eradicate the virus, you basically have to seal yourself off from every country in the world that has cases present, and every country that is still allowing flights to come in from other countries with cases present, you know what I mean? Or else, there's every chance it'll come back in, and that's what's happened in New Zealand. So, it was great for a while, Prime Minister was like, wait, yeah, I won't do an accent, but we eliminated all cases, and it was quite impressive, even though they didn't have many cases to begin with. But it didn't really do much. And you're seeing the same in Hong Kong now. They've been really strict. They still are. Basically everyone wears face masks in Hong Kong and stuff. But no, the cases are skyrocketing there again. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that if you're looking at the evidence, lockdowns don't have any long-term benefit. Like, I guess in the short term they could reduce case numbers, although if it's airborne, you have to have quite a strict lockdown to stop it spreading if it's airborne. But basically all it can do is delay the inevitable, which I guess if you have really limited and inadequate health services could it could save them a bit of hassle. They'll have enough ventilators at any one time for people, even though when you're on a ventilator you usually die anyway. So yeah, basically it's the lockdowns, their benefits are subtle really, but in the long run it just destroys the economy. So many businesses I know that have just shut permanently. So many people have just lost their jobs. Probably more than half the people I know are unemployed at the moment. This is in the UK, where it was relatively relaxed, although we still have horrible restrictions like the mask wearing and stuff. That's going to cause loads of excess deaths. You could just say from ruining people's lives, that's almost death in a way. But loads of people have missed cancer appointments. I think even basically the people in the British government have said that there's 100,000 excess cancer deaths now because people haven't wanted to go, or haven't really been allowed to go out to go to a hospital because of lockdown. So it's basically it's in a way it's almost kind of a democide. If there was no lockdown, I don't think the deaths would have been much higher. It's just been the British government's just kind of shot itself in the foot really. Governments around the world have all shot themselves in the foot with this. It's I remember when I was following the virus back in March or whatever, I've been following it since January, and I kind of realised how dumb it is. I realised that it was a severe virus, but I never really thought that any reasonable government would impose a lockdown like this, just shutting down the entire economy by force. It's absurd. People kind of went along with it because everyone was scared, and to an extent still is, which is really silly. But and the cost of it is basically the economy, and it's way worse than the Great Depression. 2008 was barely a blip on the radar compared to this. So a lot of people either probably feeling really stupid right now, and they should, because so annoying. Lockdowns were pretty pointless if you just examine the basic economic, epidemiological and just health really evidence. There's barely any benefit to it apart from just to make people feel more comfortable in the short run. And now you've got nations of people who are they've basically been injected with heroin. Now everyone's kind of addicted to government services, furlough, I don't want to go to work because I feel scared, so I'll just sit on my ass and get drunk at home while the government pays my wage, which is obviously unsustainable. I think there's going to be a lot of crap to pay for, not just economically, but economically, but macroeconomically as well, microeconomically, pretty much every economy around the world has been blown to bits for, very little benefit. So and let me know what you think about the lockdown and the future implications, because honestly, I don't think things are going to get any better economically speaking anytime soon. yeah, it's just there's nothing to even compare it to. It's really crazy. But yeah, I'll wrap it up here. So yeah, you guys have a nice day. All right, like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.